Welcome back into the Cherry Pinstripes podcast. We have quite a day today because first and foremost, Jose Alvarado is eligible to return to this bullpen today. He's ineligible for the postseason, but Jose Alvarado now going to be joining this team. Haven't talked in a week, and we finished up that road trip. Last week we went into the podcast off that Texas Rangers sweep. We had the Red Series, the National Series. We only end up going 6-4 overall on that road trip. But then yesterday, they kick off that series with the Mariners with a 12-7 victory. The big news from the road trip, aside from Aaron Nola and Alec Boehm both returning on Sunday, Boehm homered. Nola didn't look particularly good. But Zack Wheeler has a blood clot in his shoulder. And they're being optimistic. They're keeping the door open that he could come back down the stretcher in the playoffs. I'm just going to be straight up. His season's probably over because they had the surgery. He's most likely going to be on blood thinners for a little bit. He's going to be on meds. And that's the type of thing that you just can't mess with. Like, he's going to have probably at least a month where he has to be inactive, just resting the body. And then we're talking about getting yourself built up for playoff pitching. I just don't know if there's enough time for it. But then again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to be realistic here. Odds are the outlook for this team down the stretch and going into the postseason is going to be Christopher Sanchez as your ace. Hopefully Ranger Suarez, who was nails yesterday in that first start against Seattle, he can do the same thing he always does, nails in October. That gives you a strong 1-2 of lefties at the top. Then you got to figure out what's going on between Aaron Nola and Jesus Luzardo. We've talked a little bit about Luzardo potentially being an extra arm in the bullpen. Taijuan Walker's going to most likely go out there. Nola's got to get himself right, too, before we're just anointing him the third starter in a playoff series. So despite the fact that this team does have a 3.5 game lead right now, Nationals and Mets are on deck, so that 5.5 game lead against the Mets, you got to play well against them next week or it could be gone. So up 5.5 right now, that's big. But there are jobs for this playoff team currently being decided right now and over the next 6 weeks. So whether they win the division or not, what this roster looks like for game 1 of an October playoff series, It's going to come down to the nitty-gritty here, and some guys are going to have to step up. I've seen Andrew Painter potentially going to, when these rosters expand in September, I'd be shocked if he doesn't at least make his Major League debut. I don't think in any way he's going to be on the October roster unless he comes up here and is just lights out. But he looks like he needs a little bit more seasoning in AAA right now. And I had this conversation with a buddy last night. I'm a little concerned that he's going to get tossed into a situation where right now, doors kind of open for this pitching staff come October. We don't know who the third guy is going to be, especially if Zack Wheeler's out. Somebody, anybody, please step up and be dominant so we can be a little bit more confident going into the playoffs. If Andrew Painter comes up and gives up 3 or 4 runs in his first start, this fan base is going to be all over him. They're going to be all over him because we have anointed this guy as like the next coming of this franchise, and he's going to slide right in for Wheels as Wheels goes off into retirement at the end of this contract. But we have to also remember that he is a 22-year-old kid, a year removed from Tommy John surgery. He is still learning how to be a professional, not just a professional pitcher, a professional athlete. The day-to-day grind, throwing him into September playoff, we want to go win a World Series atmosphere in Philadelphia is a lot. It's a lot. And whether or not he makes his debut this year, I will be excited about it. But I don't think the expectation level for Andrew Painter should be this kid's going to come up here and he's going to be the difference maker for us in the playoffs. Because that's unfair. Especially with the amount of money and the amount of talent that's already in this pitching staff. We've seen David Robertson come back last week. We mentioned Alvarado is going to be coming back. The bullpen looks good. Orion Kerkering's ERA since May is a 1.5. They look good. It's the third spot in the rotation we got to figure out, and we're going to be holding starting pitcher 3 tryouts over the next month and a half. The other bulletin point I have today, I have got to give Trea Turner his flowers. I have not talked enough about him this season. I am not one that has gotten on his back at all, even in the first couple months that he stunk in his first year when everyone decided to do the standing ovation when he was one of the worst players in the league for 2 months. This guy is having an incredible season. I joked around at the All-Star break that Trea Turner's going to get hot. He's going to be the third straight Philly to win an MVP after not being an All-Star. That's not going to happen because of Shohei Ohtani. But he is really putting together quite a line this season. He's at a +5 WAR now. He's on pace to have just under 200 hits, 35 doubles, 35 stolen bases, a +15 outs above average at shortstop. This is someone who, for the last half decade has been a negative shortstop, not an average shortstop. You call Trea Turner an average defensive shortstop, that was being generous. He might win a Gold Glove. On top of an OPS that is soaring to the 800s now. Over the last 6 weeks, his OPS is 855. Since the All-Star break, it's 855. So all of his offensive numbers are soaring. And we revisited the 2022-2023 free agency this morning when we were on the train on our way in here. Trea Turner, Dansby Swanson, Xander Bogaerts, and Carlos Correa. Remember how crazy that offseason was? Those four names, Correa we didn't know what was going on with him. A lot of people thought he was going to stay in Houston. Dansby Swanson follows his wife to Chicago, who is a professional soccer player in Chicago, by the way. Greatest professional athlete family in Chicago. Shout out Dansby Swanson. And Xander Bogaerts, who was another big ticket item, goes to San Diego. Carlos Correa hasn't been on the field enough. But then when you look at the numbers, he's actually only missed 60 games compared to Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts has not been good in San Diego. That's unfortunate. 105 OPS plus. Dansby with the 102 OPS plus. But Dansby Swanson has brought elite defense and base running, which he leads the pack with a 12.2 WAR. Trea's right behind him at 10.6. Trea's defense the first 2 years he was on this deal were detrimental because he's leading in almost, when you compare the four, we can have Biondi throw the graphic up on the screen while I'm discussing this. Trea Turner's leading in virtually every stat. Dansby's got him by about 20 games and a +2 WAR. But man, I am very happy that we got the guy that we got. Another note for Trea Turner. When we signed him, the one thing that I was told the most by all you don't pay anyone in this league because they're all going to suck right after that crowd. I was told Trea Turner's speed was going to fall off a cliff at age 28, 29. He's 32 years old, and he is not in the 95th percentile for speed. He's not in the 97th percentile for speed. He's in the 100th percentile for speed. He is speed. Speed is Trea Turner. All right? Some legs last a little bit longer, and Trea Turner's still running as fast as anyone in the league. He's right there neck and neck with Pete Crow Armstrong, Bobby Witt Jr. Towards the top of the list. He's been on a tear since the All-Star break. And with Bryce Harper realistically having a down year, he's only at 20 homers. He had the injury early in the season. Trea Turner stepped up and been the hog next to Kyle Schwarber in this lineup for this team. And it's been great to see. And I just needed to go on my little Trea Turner rant because I haven't done it this year. And I don't think he gets enough flowers from people. As a guy that's bounced around positions a little bit, not the best defender in the world, doesn't hit for a ton of power, but outside of that Team USA run where he was just the best player in the world for 2 weeks, I don't think he gets enough credit on the grand scheme of things. Even last night, he went 4 for 6 with 5 RBIs last night. I didn't even notice because Schwarber and Harper were hitting the ball 450 feet. Trea's getting on every time. Just getting on every time, and he's playing great defense this year. So shout out Trea Turner. Some things that I want us to keep our eyes on moving forward the next couple of weeks, aside from the starting pitcher situation with Aaron Nola and Andrew Painter, is this bullpen. We've already seen the lineup. The lineup is what it is. They're a streaky team. They have guys on their team, Nick Castellanos, who just their approach is what it is. They are who they are. This is a team that's going to score 10 one night and then get 2 hit by Brady Singer the next day. It's just what they do. It is what it is. But this offense is good enough to win a World Series. They got to be clicking at the right time. Tanner Banks and Jose Alvarado are two dudes that have really can be game changers down the stretch. Tanner Banks in particular has a 3.0 ERA right now, over 54 innings this season. Lefties are batting 162 against him right now. He has been who we thought Matt Strahm was going to be for the last couple of months. Matt Strahm's had his ups and downs this season. We saw his Players Weekend glove. He got kicked off the mound. It did have some white on it, but it was a cool glove. But yeah, Tanner Banks has stepped up. He's been right there just as good as Matt Strahm. So having an extra lefty along with Jose Alvarado now joining into things. This bullpen, I think, with John Duran ever since the trade deadline has been the best bullpen in baseball statistically. They're top 3 in every category, first in several. You're getting an Alvarado back. David Robertson now has pitched 3 innings. He hasn't given up a run yet. He's spinning the ball like he always has. Keep your eyes on this bullpen because if we do get to October and Zack Wheeler's not there, and let's say hypothetically no one else steps up and takes this third spot in the rotation. Let's say we're only confident in Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez is nails. I don't care what his stats are. He's going to be nails. That third spot in the rotation, we might only need 4 innings with this bullpen. We have a lot of arms right now, and the guys we thought were going to be low leverage have been getting a lot of high leverage innings lately, and they're coming through. So let's keep an eye on Tanner Banks. How does Jose Alvarado look when he comes back? He will not be a part of the postseason team, which is where maybe a Jesus Luzardo gets involved later. But that'll do it for this week, guys. Big couple of series coming up. We got 2 more games with the Mariners. Then you got to take care of business against the Nationals this weekend before you play the Mets next week. You got to at least keep this 5-game lead before you go to Citi Field next week. You get a 4-game series against the Mets at home in September. Make sure you're still up by the time you get to that series. That is where my head is right now. When the Mets come to town in September, be up by 4 or 5 games, and you're putting yourself in a position to stroll into the playoffs with extra days off. So I will see you guys next week. Maybe. Actually, I'm on PTO next week. I might sneak an extra pod in this week. Maybe we sneak an extra pod in this week for next week. I will talk to you guys then. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Instagram, Twitter. I said it last pod. The Instagram is growing like crazy lately. It's probably going to get over 10K by the end of the season. So make sure you're following us on Instagram. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm out.